UX design and UI design, two terms that are often lumped together and used interchangeably. But what do they mean? What's the difference between UX and UI, and how are the two related? First things first, let's clear up this myth once and for all. UX and UI are not the same thing. Yes, the two go hand in hand, but they're very different, and I'm going to explain why. UX design stands for user experience design. In very simple terms, UX design is a human-first way of designing products. It's all about the user's interaction or experience with a product or service. How straightforward is this experience? How easy is it for the user to complete their desired tasks? Is the experience smooth or clunky? UX can cover everything from physical products to digital experiences, like online shopping or swiping through an app. UI design stands for user interface design. UI is what you use to interact with the product, and it focuses on the user's visual experience. UI design covers all the screens and visual interactive touchpoints that the user moves through when navigating from A to B. Think tapping a button, scrolling down a page, or swiping through images. We'll go into both UX and UI design in more detail later, but first, let's look at how they're related. Imagine a product as the human body. The bones would be the code that gives the body its structure. The organs represent the UX design, measuring and optimizing against input for supporting life functions. UI design represents the cosmetics of the body, its presentation, its senses and reactions. Another great analogy to explain this relationship is horse riding. As Dain Miller puts it, UI is the saddle, the stirrups and the reins, while UX is the feeling you get being able to ride the horse. So UX is focused on the user's journey to solve a particular problem. UI design is focused on how a product's surfaces or interfaces look and function. Now you can kind of see how UX and UI work together. To further distinguish between the two, let's look at each in more detail. UX refers to any interaction a user has with a product or service. UX design considers each and every element that shapes this user experience. How does it make the user feel? How easy is it for the user to accomplish their desired tasks while using the product? Consider an e-commerce website. If the checkout process is really long-winded, overcomplicated and buggy, you'll come away feeling like you've had a bad user experience, an experience you probably won't be in a hurry to repeat. However, if the process is quick, straightforward and hassle-free, you'll consider it a good user experience. So how do UX designers ensure good user experiences? They combine market research, product development, strategy and design to find out what the user wants and needs in a particular context. They then use their findings to design a product that puts the user first. UX designers will start by conducting extensive research. Who are their target users? What do they want and expect from the product or service in question? The user research phase consists of conducting face-to-face interviews, online questionnaires and surveys, observing existing or potential users and building personas. Empathy is absolutely crucial, as the UX designer really needs to be able to put themselves in the user's shoes. The UX designer works out what journey the user is trying to complete and maps out user flows. They then create wireframes and prototypes, which are tested and iterated until the final design is ready. The UX design process centers on understanding the user, mapping out a logical journey, and ensuring optimal functionality. UX design is also very heavily linked to business, considering not only the user's needs and goals, but also those of the company. Unlike UI design, it has nothing to do with visuals or making things look good. What is UI design, and what does a UI designer do? Unlike UX design, user interface design focuses specifically on the user's visual, interactive experience. How does the user interact with the product interface? How do they get from one screen to another? And what happens when they click this button or tap that image? UI designers design every single screen and interactive touchpoint that the user encounters. They consider the layout of each page and the spacing between every element. They design buttons, scroll bars and slides, working with color palettes and typography. In order to ensure consistency and familiarity across the product, the UI designer will also establish a style guide. Just like UX designers, UI designers will create mock-ups and prototypes to see how the final product will look. In a nutshell, UI design is all about the presentation, look and feel of the product. Of course, the UI of a product has a huge impact on the user's overall experience, but UI is much more closely related to visual communication and graphic design. Essentially, the UI designer takes the bare-bones blueprint from the UX designer and turns it into something aesthetically pleasing and interactively seamless. Having explored both UX and UI in more detail, we can see that they're very different. UX is highly analytical, rooted in psychology and cognitive behaviour. It's all about problem solving and understanding how the user ticks. UI is much more focused on the visuals, on whether or not the product is aesthetically and interactively pleasing. UX is all about making a product functional and useful, while UI is concerned with making it beautiful and interactive. UX ensures that the user can open an app or website and easily do what they went there to do, whether it's ordering a pair of shoes, checking their bank balance, or tracking their calorie intake. UI, on the other hand, is a chance to make a real emotional connection with the user. Ultimately, UX is a huge concept that applies to everything. It's the entire experience that the user has with a product or brand. By definition, UI design is just about digital interfaces, but the two very much go hand in hand. If you're curious about the difference between UX and UI design, you might be wondering which route to take in your career. If you're big on empathy, putting others first, and understanding how they tick, UX design is probably more your thing. Likewise, if you enjoy problem solving, both creative and analytical thinking, and have a good eye for detail, you'll take to UX like a duck to water. If you're more into the visual side of things, getting hands-on with colour palettes, typography and animations, you're probably better suited to UI design. It's worth noting that many companies advertise for UX and UI designers as one single role, so if you are interested in both, there is the possibility to combine. However, each requires a different set of skills and methods. If you're not sure which one is for you, try your hand at both. Here at CareerFoundry, we've got free short courses in both UX and UI design. They'll give you a taster of what it's like to work in each field and highlight the kinds of approaches and processes you'll need to adopt. For more on UX and UI, head over to the CareerFoundry blog. Thanks for watching.